SBC Media.
Welcome to the iGaming Daily Podcast, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market.
I have some gases in me that I cannot control. It's not a burp. The one that you just heard, it's not a burp. It's just, I guess, are you recording? I guess it's just the peristaltic, the how do you say it? In biology terms, the thing, the road that your feces travel. Intestines, exactly. Okay. My intestines are all messed up.
That's kind of a perfect segue in today's podcast.
Sponsored by Optimove.
So just like Viktor's gas is heading south, we're going to be heading to the Balkans in today's episode of iGaming Daily, with Bulgaria witnessing proposals to tighten its gambling regulations in the past month. In April, a new bill to amend the country's gambling act was proposed by Bulgaria's biggest political party, GERB, I believe I'm right in saying that?
GERB, you can say.
GERB, we'll say GERB, okay. Along with the Movement for Rights and Freedom Party. The amendments, if approved by the National Assembly, will see a ban on gambling advertisements throughout TV, radio, print and online, as well as all kinds of promotional places on public buildings. And this will be the topic of today's episode of iGaming Daily, where you've already heard his voice. I'm joined by Viktor Kayed, the senior journalist at SBC News, and a native Bulgarian. Hello, Viktor.
That's right. Both of those are factual statements. Hello, James. Good to be here.
No, it's good to have you here. Do you know what? Before we actually jump into this, before I started the podcast, I got told by someone in the office that you are an expert on something Bulgarian. We're going to keep it Bulgarian related.
All right.
And it probably explains your intestines. Bulgarian cheese.
Yeah, I'm kind of a Bulgarian cheese connoisseur. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And I actually got everyone in this office building, not everyone, but a lot of people addicted to it, because whenever I go home and I come back, I like to bring food with me. That obviously they don't have it in the UK, and yes, a lot of people, not only me, like it. So yeah, I'm kind of the how do you say it? I'm kind of the cheese Bulgarian connoisseur. Yeah, you can say that.
The big cheese.
The big cheese. The big cheese mafia. The big cheese Bulgarian mafia. Yeah.
I'm kind of a bit jealous actually, because you just said you brought some of this cheese back for people in the office, and I have not experienced this Bulgarian cheese.
You haven't asked for it. Oh, you wanted it? Okay.
In fact, no, probably not with your intestines the way it is. What was the Bulgarian cheese? What's your favourite?
Well, there's two types. One of them is white cheese. The other one is yellow cheese. Both are made from cow's milk. The ones that I like, you can also make it from goat cheese as well. But they're both very salty. So the first time I brought some to a friend of mine in the UK who is British, I didn't expect them to like it because of the saltiness. But it turns out it's a good taste even for people abroad. So my personal favorite, I guess, would be the yellow cheese, because it's more mellow. And you can have it with everything, especially on pizza. It's really nice on pizza. It looks like cheddar cheese, but it tastes completely different. Much, much better.
Perfect. You know, I could probably talk more cheese. Should we just do a food podcast?
Yeah, if we can find a sponsor for it, sure, why not?
I don't think our sponsor Optimove. In fact, our sponsor Optimove might be up for a
let's check
cheese podcast.
Yeah, maybe they have some Bulgarians over there as well.
You know what? The number one iGaming CRM iGaming solution on the market. They might be the number one cheese solution on the market.
There you go, number one cheese. The number one cheese producer. Who knows? We would never know unless we ask. So whoever is listening from Optimove, give us a shout. Yeah,
and whoever else is listening to the podcast who isn't from Optimove are actually offering a free month for listeners of the iGaming Daily podcast. If you go to www.optimove.com/SBC, you will be able to sign up for that first month. I'll leave all the links in the description below.
Just a disclaimer, cheese might or might not be included.
Yeah, look, it may or may not. I think it's more the latter. Perfect. Look, we're talking Bulgaria. By my introduction, it may seem like I'm the expert in Bulgaria here, but I'm not. Everything has come from Viktor, who's been covering the story pretty much since it broke and every single update on SBC News. So I gave a little bit of an update. Vic, you're the expert. I'll play moderator. Can you just give us an overview of what's actually been happening in Bulgaria?
So it specifically refers to the ban on gambling advertisement and changes to the country's gambling act. Specifically, gambling ad ban. The gambling ban ad has been going on for a long time, almost 6 years now. And it came as a surprise that politicians were able to come together just in a few days and unanimously vote for it. 196 people voted for and 0 against, which is quite an achievement for politicians in Bulgaria. They're usually pretty divided on every other topic. But it involves changes to the Gambling Act, which are about to be enforced very, very soon.
Mm-hmm. Cool. What current status are we in with it now?
Well, it passed. I think it was last week that people started talking about it. It passed first reading, as the draft itself passed first reading. I think 1 or 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure. I'm gonna lie to you because the information is getting mixed up together. After passing first read, then it went to second reading, which it also passed. Then last week it was voted in by the country's National Assembly. Like I said, unanimously, 196 votes for it. Naturally, after a law has been voted by the National Assembly, it's expected for it to pass a final reading by the president and then get published into the country's gazette. It didn't happen last week because there were some holidays in Bulgaria, the Easter holiday specifically, so people were away from work. But breaking news from today, I can say that the president has signed the document. It has been published in the official gazette, so the changes are expected to come into force this Friday, so just 3 days from now.
Okay, that's the breaking news.
That's the breaking news, yeah.
Probably should have led with that one, shouldn't we?
Well, just keep the dessert for the final part.
Yeah, we gave them a little cheese board first.
Exactly. But although the president we weren't sure if he would vote for it or against, because in an interview towards the end of last week, he said that he might veto it. So. It's an unexpected development, but here we are. The changes are going to come into force this Friday, which is again a very, very quick procedure. It gives operators almost no time to react to the changes.
Yeah, okay. Then I'm actually glad you re-mentioned those, Rush, because you mentioned it earlier in one of your answers. Why has it been rushed through?
Well, there are a few speculations going on around, and I'm not big of a conspiracy theorist, but the two main ones are the first one is kind of a general criticism. Elections are coming up in June, so they think it's like a strategic pre-elections move from the parties, which is not far away. Is not far. It doesn't sound too far away from reality. The second reason, though, is more interesting. It involves the cutting of funding to media companies. Media companies, the 3 biggest media companies in Bulgaria, there are a lot, but the 3 biggest receive a substantial amount of money from gambling advertisement. Mm-hmm. For example, I'm going to read you out the numbers from last year. let me just find them. Okay, there they are. So for 2023, the Bulgarian National Television, which is the national broadcaster, received around 1.9 million pounds from gambling advertisements, which is not a lot, but it mostly comes from the Bulgarian Tote Board, which again is Bulgarian owned, so they have kind of a symbiotic relationship between them. But this is the national broadcaster. The other two are private companies. And listen to this, for 2023, one broadcaster called BTV received 18 million pounds for the year from gambling advertisements. And the third one, called Nova Television, which has been the most vocal about the changes to regulation, received 32.5 million pounds from gambling advertisements. So as you can see, quite a substantial amount. And the conspiracy, I guess, is that certain politicians, this is again political talk, but the conspiracy is that certain politicians are trying to devalue the media companies so that, you know, certain people can buy them for less the market value that they currently are, and then, you know.
I mean, just for the podcast, factually, like that isn't the case. That's
the
rumor mill.
That's the theories that's been going around. The two main theories. We're not experts. We're not investigative journalists. Who knows what happens behind the scenes? But it is a fact that cutting funds from gambling advertisements to these companies will significantly reduce their annual income, and it doesn't help that this happens not even at the end of the financial quarter. We just started this financial quarter, so they have to be, you know, both the media organizations and the operators have to be very careful how they proceed onwards.
And you already mentioned Nova TV, that you're saying they were very vocal.
Yeah.
In these what were proposals but now signed off. What did they say? Because they issued a statement.
They issued a statement saying that when funds are cut from the media's budget, this threatens the production value of their broadcasting capabilities. It puts them in a situation where they might provide content of lower quality. It also affects their capability to compete in the international market for broadcasting rights, for example, for the upcoming UEFA Europa League. They secure the value, they secure the rights for that, but because they had an extra influx of money after this is gone, they say that they wouldn't have this opportunity again, and the content that they show viewers will be severely threatened.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to ask you one more thing just before we go to a quick ad break. So this gambling ban, blanket ban, we've already explained it, what it's over, TV, radio, online and print. There's similar restrictions across Europe, with the likes of Spain, Italy, with strict regulations, so I say, in Europe, like Spain, Italy, Germany, and the Netherlands. How does this differ or show similarities between them? Is it quite similar to what's happening in those aforementioned countries, or is it slightly different?
Well, specifically the ban on TV adverts, it's quite different because, for example, in Italy and in Germany, there is such a ban, but companies were giving a lengthy transition period to adapt to the changes. For example, in Italy, I think it was 18 months. In Germany, I think it was 6 months. Here in Bulgaria, it just happens from the time of the initial draft to today when it was signed into law. It's literally been like less than a month. And the law is gonna start being enforced this Friday. So you can see there is quite a huge difference between the time given to companies and to companies in those countries, in the other European countries, and the situation, how it is in Bulgaria.
Okay, cool. So our producer Renee has just come to the door with a nice cheese spread. So me and Vic, we're going to enjoy that while listeners, you get a quick ad break. So we'll be right back.
SBC Leaders connects the gambling industry's top-tier operators and associations to share the best ideas, collaborate on solving the biggest issues, and push innovation throughout the betting and gaming industry. If you're an operator and want to join the discussion, visit sbcleaders.com for more information.
And we're back. How's your cheese spread, Vic?
It was all right. It was on Bulgarian, though, so I enjoy what I have.
Yeah, some nice baby bells, some dairy triangles.
Yeah, baby bells are nice.
Oh, I'm a big fan of baby bells.
They're my favorite.
Cool. Like, in the second half, we're gonna take a slight turn and just look at a few other things that were in this proposal, away from the gambling ban, and I kind of want to look at the social responsibility payment. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Vic. I don't think I'm wrong because I took this from your article.
Well,
this is where each operator must make an annual payment to the Treasury.
yes.
What's been the amendments there?
Well, every operator is obliged to give the Treasury an amount of their profits as a social responsibility tax. The latest amendments that are in the newest law say that 43.7 thousand pounds need to be given from providers of online gambling. So there is a different tax amount, and the tax amount depends on what kind of a gambling provider you are. So the 43.7 thousand pounds is for providers of online gambling. The next one is 10.9 thousand pounds for land-based casinos. And the smallest amount is 4.4 thousand pounds for all other gambling providers. And these funds will go straight to the Ministry of Healthcare to treat gambling harm and people who experience it.
Mm-hmm. And there's also been a tightening on self-exclusion duties.
The self-exclusion registry, as it exists by itself, but it acts as any other self-exclusion registry across Europe. People, if they want, they can sign up for it, and they're gonna receive restricted access from gambling.
Mm-hmm.
This registry, the amendments envision that it will be integrated into the social care registry, which serves as a list of people who are dependent from the government currently in Bulgaria. They receive social care. They're unemployed. They don't have a secure influx of monthly cash inflow, so they're going to combine both. And anyone who is under the social care list will be automatically enlisted into the self-exclusion registry. But of course, this involves collaborative work between the Ministry of Finance, which is currently overseeing the gambling sector, and the Ministry of Health, which is overseeing obviously the social care list. And it's going to take time for them to be integrated, both lists, but it's coming. It's in the new regulations.
Mm-hmm. And also, just for the operators who listen to the podcast as well, the proposals, which again I'll emphasise, are now set in stone, are set to be in place on Friday.
From Friday.
As part of the tightening of the self-exclusion duties, operators will be fined. Apologies. What's the currency in Bulgaria?
Lev. It's called Lev. So
Lev.
You can say Bulgarian Levs.
Bulgarian Levs. Okay, so the operators will be fined 5,000 Bulgarian Levs for the first violation, 20,000 Bulgarian Levs for the second violation, and license cancellation if they reach a third violation, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And just for the reference, one pound is around 2.3 Bulgarian Levs.
Okay.
So you can decide for yourself how much this is, and the license and cancellation is also a new rule. It wasn't described in the law before, so it's a very much legal danger for operators currently in the country.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to round the podcast off with kind of what's the next steps and what we can expect now. But again, this has now been approved. It's going to be brought in on Friday.
Yes, it's going to start. It's going to be in force on Friday.
Yeah, but I expect there'll be quite a few vocal oppositions from this now it's been approved, which Vic, you'll cover on SBC News when it does happen. But just for the listeners out there, we're now short on time or at the end of the podcast.
Which is sad because there's so many other huge amendments to mention. I'm gonna do one and let you
go on. Round us off with the big ones.
There is also a rule that prohibits land-based casinos and all types of gambling in populated areas with under 10,000 inhabitants, which is quite huge. All casinos in such small towns should close within the next 3 years. It's kind of similar to what we saw back in Romania. Not sure, a few months back, where the law was the same. It just the number was different. Yeah, in Romania it was forbidden in towns under 15,000, and in Bulgaria now it's even less than that, even 10,000.
Perfect. Like I mentioned at the start, Vic's been covering this since the news initially broke or the proposal was initially made, and he's done quite a few articles on SBC News, which I'll leave in the description below. Vic will also be covering this as updates keep happening, so keep an eye out on SBC News. Keep an ear out on iGaming Daily, because I'll no doubt have Vic back for an update on this in the not so distant future. But apart from that, thank you for listening to iGaming Daily. Vic, let's go get some food.
Let's go. I'm up for that, guys. Yeah. Thank you for listening, and keep an eye out. Exciting news from Eastern Europe coming up soon.
Thank you for listening to today's iGaming Daily podcast, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News network, or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.